Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matt, I am the American-Canadian Gamer, and I just wanted to say Happy New Year because it is 2015. 2014 is gone, we can forget about all the bad stuff that happened, and we can look forward to 2015 and all the good things that are gonna come. What is this? I don't know. I'm in a really good mood because it's 2015, there's a blank slate, it's a new start for the new year, and yes, I know, technically, nothing has changed, everything's still the same, but it's that feeling of a blank slate, of a fresh start, that hope and optimism that comes with it. That's just such a good feeling to revel in, because you make a long list of resolutions that you're going to fail within the first 2 weeks, but you can still do the best you can at them and try to change who you are because you have that wonderful start in the year, in the new year, any new year, not just 2015, any new year. You have that great, wonderful new start, and I have a big, long laundry list of resolutions that I cannot wait to fail. But hopefully I won't fail any of them, and I'll get a lot of stuff done, and it's going to be a really good year, and I'm going to be working so hard on so many different things. There's so many ways I need to improve myself, improve the way I live, improve the things I do, improve this channel. There's so many things I gotta do, and I'm kind of excited to become a different person by the end of this year. I want to hopefully be able to say, look, I was here at the beginning, I'm here at the end, lots of good things happened in the middle, and I had a great time, so that's hopefully going to happen. But I didn't want to just say Happy New Year, I also wanted to do a Best Games of 2014 list, my personal Best Games of 2014, because I don't think I've actually ever done that, at least not in any way I can remember doing that, so we're going to start doing that. I'm going to do my top 5 games of 2014, and the reason it's like a top 5 and not a top 10 is because I didn't get to play a lot of games in 2014 due to having to move back, you know, all that stuff that happened. I didn't get to play a lot of the games I wanted to, so the only rule that I have for this list is it has to be a game I actually played, which is why there may not be some entries on this list that may have actually topped it. There may be games this year that I didn't play that I would have loved more than every other game on the list, but these are the ones that I just played. So let's get the disclaimer out of the way that this is just my personal list, my personal choices, even though, you know, that disclaimer doesn't stop anybody from bitching. They still just complain about every little thing, and no matter what I put at number 1, everybody's gonna hate it, so it doesn't matter. These are my personal top 5 favorites. I wanted to just share these. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. Hand movements, things, excitement. Number 5. Starting our countdown at number 5, we have Titanfall, the flagship title from Respawn Entertainment. This shooter took familiar elements from Call of Duty and expanded them into large-scale warfare with enormous mechs, jetpacks, and intuitive parkour movement. Now, this game is reminiscent of the glory days of Quake and Unreal, where combat was fast, brutal, and had a strong vertical element. They replaced kill streaks with burn cards, which is, in my opinion, a much more fun and balanced system, and they scattered AI enemies across the battlefield that fulfill the same role as creeps in a MOBA like League of Legends. However, the game did lack a bit of content. There were only a handful of weapons, and most of them weren't really that viable on a competitive level, and their attachments weren't that imaginative either. Now, there could have been more equipment and tactical ability options, and the perks were somewhat lackluster. But while the game did have many faults, it did lay a fantastic foundation for future installments, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what they bring in Titanfall 2. Number 4. At number 4, we have The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Now, this was one of the more surprising titles of the year because I expected it to be nothing more than a reskin of the original, and boy was I wrong about that. There are dozens of new items and mechanics implemented into the games, items now synergized properly, there are new characters, enemies, bosses, and it's all wrapped up in a sleek 8-bit inspired art style that runs at a smooth 60 frames per second and has a proper full screen mode. That is a lot of improvements. Now, under all of the new bells and whistles lies the same awesome gameplay from the original Binding of Isaac. It still feels good to fire your tears at just the right angle, or to beat a boss without taking any damage. And I must say that I do enjoy that they added a bit to the story. Now, in the original Binding of Isaac, you don't know that if your mom is actually hearing the voice of God, or if she's just crazy. In the Binding of Isaac Rebirth, it is hinted that your mom is actually batshit insane, and God is actually on your side. Either way, if you haven't played the Binding of Isaac, I highly recommend picking up Rebirth. Number 3.
That's far enough, intruder. Where's your hall pass? No hall.
Licensed games are a fickle beast. At times, they can be pretty awesome, but most of the time, they are complete and utter garbage that was rushed to store shelves in order to capitalize on the success of a movie. This is not the case with South Park: The Stick of Truth, which set a new bar for licensed games and is my pick for number 3. Playing this game is like playing an episode of the show. Everything from the art style to the movements to the animations and the aesthetic are all done in that signature South Park style. You play as the new kid, a silent child whose family just moved to South Park under mysterious circumstances, and you immediately find yourself thrust into the middle of a conflict between the elves and the humans as they struggle for control of the Stick of Truth. And along the way you encounter goth kids, underpants gnomes, and gingers. The Stick of Truth is filled with parodies, cliches, tropes, and enough Easter eggs to satisfy both casual and hardcore fans of the show. The only real problem that I have with it is that the game is just a little bit too easy. The ability to use a consumable and attack in the same turn is just a bit too strong for my liking, but I do love the mechanic of having to press the buttons or rotate the thumbsticks at the right time to land a perfect attack. But if you're a fan of South Park and a fan of RPGs, then I suggest giving this game a chance. And as for a sequel, I just have one word: superheroes.
Gentlemen, thanks to the new kid, our entire army is assembled. It is my belief that the new kid deserves to rank up in level. To honor his efforts, he will no longer be called Douchebag. New kid, I hereby dub thee Sir Douchebag. Congratulations.
Number 2. Speaking of licensed games, at number 2 we have Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Now this game was a sleeper hit. When it first debuted, everyone just kind of said, it looks like Assassin's Creed in Middle-earth, and to be fair, they are pretty spot on about that. But what nobody could have expected was just how damn fun this game is. There is nothing like stalking through an orc encampment, slowly picking off major threats from stealth, and then engaging the local captains and generals in head-to-head combat using a combination of swordplay, archery, wraith powers, and the environment to kill them and dozens of other orcs in the process. The controls are incredibly tight and responsive, allowing you to dodge and block at a moment's notice, and the voice acting is spot on. Troy Baker gives an excellent performance as Talion, and despite being set in the desolate realm of Mordor, the game is very appealing to the eye, and you can tell that the art team truly cared about the cinematic direction of the game. But perhaps the most surprising element of the game is the Nemesis system, where orcs that defeat you in combat increase in rank and become more powerful over time. Now, every time that you hear someone talk about this game, they always regale their encounter with a lowly little orc that became their arch nemesis throughout the game. I, for one, was killed by an archer early in the game, and every time I encountered him, he was far stronger than I anticipated. And because he was an archer, he was usually able to kill me from a distance where I couldn't really do anything about it. Now, eventually, I made it my mission to take him out. I tracked him to a stronghold, and I slowly picked off his guards one by one until I was able to engage him alone. And I succeeded, but little did I know that I didn't kill him. He actually survived, and it wasn't until late in the game when I made my final push against the forces of the Black Hand that I once again came face to face with my nemesis. And this time, I made sure that his head was separated from his body when I was done with him. It's for that story alone that this game ranks at number 2.
Are you really what death looks like?
Number 1. Alright, come on, let's be honest, is this really that big of a surprise? This game is eating up almost as much of my time and money as its MMO counterpart did. It is simultaneously simple and complex, and it's so addictive that I want to play just because I'm talking about it right now. I have a major urge to play this game. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Team Fortress 2, in that you can play the game as the most hardcore player on the planet, or you can just make gimmick decks that are all about explosions or using only one type of card. Every little detail has so much fun and flavor, from the matchmaking screen to the sound bites when a card enters the battlefield, that you can tell the developers certainly had a lot of love for this project, and it shows. And while there are really many cards that at the moment do seem unbalanced, as they roll out new expansions, the meta should stabilize and we should see a much more varied and fair metagame. And now that they're rolling out the Android version of the game, there is no excuse to try it. Even if you have never played a card game in your life, I urge you to give this one a try. This game is easy to learn, but hard to master. The games are fast, so they don't eat up a lot of your time, and it's free, so if you don't like it, no loss. But if you were to try any game from this list, make it Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, my number 1 game of 2014. So there you have it, my top 5 games of 2014. What was your top game of the last year? What was the game that made you the most excited, that you had the most fun playing? Let me know down below. I want to see what people said in comparison to, you know, what I enjoyed from the past year. And let's just look forward to a great year in 2015. Let's hope lots of great things happen. I just want the channel to explode in popularity. I just want to have a good year. I want to be able to look back on this year and say, that was good. Good things happen. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt, and Happy New Year.